Welcome everybody, and even Lee.
First of all, David, thank you. David Wilkham, thank you so much for reading that poem. And please post it in the chat box. To begin, David Wilkham was just talking about so much of the work that many have done over the past 40 and 50 years, and seeing so much of it coming unraveled. And yet the spirit remains undaunted. So we live at this unprecedented intersection of crises that is an extraordinary wake-up call for everyone and for humanity. It calls us to awaken, to become informed, to wise, effective, concerted action at all levels. And it is a time of the great turning. And I have just recently been on a call with one of the original 13 original grandmothers, and she was actually the one who, as she said, wove the sacred thread that helped bring together the original Council of the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. And one of their prophecies from thousands of years ago calls this the time of the great turning, that if we did not heed what Mother Earth was trying to tell us about living in harmony with one another and with all life, that there would come a time of a great series of catastrophes and epidemics. So we are in the time of the great turning. And what I am very aware of is the indomitable spirit that lies innate in each of us. And I have been on the phone most of the night with evacuees in Northern California who are about to lose everything and don't know what the future holds. And yet their spirits are indomitable, because what they are doing is finding ways to help one another and reach out and to live in even greater uncertainty. And I'm called to remember the one of the original principles in action of Pathways to Peace, which goes as follows. Acting in concert, we do make a difference in the quality of our lives, our institutions, our environment, and our planetary future. Through cooperation, we unite the initial innate spirit that unites us amidst all our diverse ways, for the sake of future generations and for the quality of life for all beings. So we tread this way together with gratitude for all of those who have come before us and helped clear the path, and realizing that we have some uncharted paths that we are all contributing to now as peace builders. And so the real purpose of our call today is to realize that we are a community. Many of us have known each other for 30, 40, 50 years, and some of us very new. And that this uncharted territory is being, with our indomitable spirits, we are helping to build a diverse, sustainable, inclusive, viable culture of peace that is intergenerational, intercultural, that recognizes that personal and planetary peace are inseparable as are local and global peace. And so in this moment, as we gather together in our community, let us imagine ourselves being in a sacred circle together, this ever expanding, and focus our attention in our hearts and just allow ourselves to become present in this moment with one another. And I've asked dear Dot Maver to guide us in an opening meditation. Over to you, Dot.
Thank you, my dear sister, Avon, and it's good to be with everyone here today. So as we come together to share our presence and our thoughts in this intergenerational community of peace builders, we hold a focus on this time of transition as the leadership of the next generation emerges in all walks of life. And we hold the question in the group heart: how may we best cooperate, collaborate with what is emerging for a sustainable, regenerative, just future of peace for all? So let us prepare to enter a minute of reflective silence together, knowing that the power of silence is greater than we know. We take a deep breath as we activate peace in our own hearts. And another deep breath as we unite our hearts across distance. And we call on all those who join us in this moment, holding this question in our hearts. As we now enter the power of silence as action, holding our shared intention for peace.
Thank you, Dot. Over to you, Tessakaya.
And I'm going to pass it over to David.
Welcome. Delighted to see everyone coming together here. My name is David Wick, one of the directors at Pathways to Peace. I've been part of the journey with Pathways since 1980. It's been an incredible journey. And it's wonderful coming together today. Last time we were together, we took a look at some of the backgrounds of the history of Pathways and, with the introduction of each other. And the journey of peace building just continues. It's an evolution. I was just thinking about it recently.
George Anthony,
About,
PTP UN Primary Rep.
Please mute whoever needs to
Join the meeting.
please mute. And the reality is the journey continues. If you look back in the faith communities, back on Jesus, back on Muhammad, back on the Buddhism, back on the great teachings of the higher values and living them. And that I see is when you're talking about the culture of peace, We're creating the environment. We're creating a place to live those values, to live in heartful connection and live in consciousness, greater consciousness with each other. And that's the journey that we are here to do. So moving forward is what we're called for today. Thank you for coming together. So the first part, we'd like to introduce you to introduce yourselves individually, and you briefly talk about your work and what you're doing. So if you would, share your name, your current work, and if in the work that you're looking for support, connection, please note that. And then in the chat, please put down your name, website, your contact information that we have. And this is all being recorded, but we can all share that. We'll be sharing that as we go. After the introduction, then we're going to move into the input into the strategic plan for pathways, ideas, suggestions that you have for the next evolution, building upon what's been done, but moving into this era that we're all part of now, that we're all we're contributors to. We'd like to do that. So again, take just a couple minutes in the introduction, so then we'll have time to really dive into the depth of your suggestions, which we request be either putting your deep suggestions in the chat, or Tezekiah, if you look in the chat right now, Tezekiah has her email address, which is tez@pathwaystopeace.org, and putting more in-depth material. So we're going to collaborate, pull this all together, and then Tezekiah towards the end will help organize how we move forward. So I'll just call you out, call your name, and please introduce yourselves in the brief way, and let us proceed. So I'm just going to go across the top row as I see the images here. So Dot, welcome, and you're a deep partner and sister.
Bless you, David, and love to Irene. Thank you so much. So Dot Maver, I'm with Global Silent Minute, National Peace Academy, USA, River Phoenix Center for Peace Building, and the Global Alliance for Ministries and Infrastructures for Peace. And in terms of the need for support, the keynote for myself is inspiring cooperation on behalf of the common good. So I am on this call representing those groups offering cooperation and collaboration, and I will say specifically the Global Silent Minute, if we can be of service to groups, we are delighted. So grateful to be with everyone in this circle and looking forward to discovering how we continue to cooperate on behalf of the common good. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And with the number of people that we have here and where we're going, you just can focus in on 1 minute with this part of the introduction. Thank you. David, over in the UK, please. You unmute. Unmute, David.
Hi.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, I'm David Walcombe, founder and president of Peace Child International, retired since 2015 and doing my own work. Peace Child itself is now focused on youth job creation, chiefly in West Africa. But David Gordon and my wife Rosie and I are still very much focused on peace building and working on the 75th anniversary of the United Nations, for whom we're doing a big concert here in the UK, which will be streamed online on United Nations Day, 24th of October. Lovely to be with you all and to reconnect with Pathways to Peace.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. Going right around to Fred in New York, downtown.
Hi, everybody. My name is Fred Canizaro. I'm a creative director, strategic communications production, and I'm freelancing at the moment. And I've had the opportunity to work on product launches, strategic communications, especially for the 50th anniversary of the United Nations. We staged the press conference for the UN and directed the centerpiece film on the 50th anniversary, then 14 more films after that on global issues. So I believe in communications. I understand the context of the situation that we're in globally. And as a strategic planner for media, I often find that I'm just getting the knot untied in a message is key. I respect Pathways to Peace and the mission, and I'm looking forward to listening today and sharing ideas.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And I can't see your full name, but Mr. Four Futures.
Sorry, my full name is Heiner Benking. I only know the name Evan, and I introduced Lucille Green and other creative members of the Club of Budapest 25 years ago. And we did with John McConnell the Earth Day Equinox, and we just celebrated 30, 40, 50 years. So I find myself happy here, hailing from Berlin, retired, also nearly 70 years of age and 4 grandsons. So I'm very busy all my life around all these fields, and through Elie Wiesel or the Global Commons Alliance and many other issues we did after Rio 92 in ECOSOC, I know many of the alphabetic noodle soup. We invited Erwin Laszlo to be our Peace University scientific director in the early 90s, and later we established the Club of Budapest. And I've been a Roma all my life and working now around media, filmmaking, Youth for Planet, and many youth organizations working like Makers for Humanity or Youth World and whatever issues around all the UN organizations since I joined UNEP in the preparation of Rio and before DP. So I'm now as an elderly retired journalist, activist, in-betweener, helping a little bit in various boards, because I think all these intersections of crisis, like Evan just mentioned, have a need to step back, to take on a broader picture. And that is my work in exhibitions around local, as we coined it in 1990, to really look across the scales and the sectors. I was talking and rambling.
We need to continue on, sir, but please conclude.
No, I'm done. I was rambling on forever. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And now to Deborah Green, Peace Traveler. Welcome.
Hello. Hi, David. Hi, everybody. So good to see all these faces that I know and don't know. Looking forward to meeting you. I've been honored to be called the Peace Traveler over the last several years. 4 years ago, I ran around the country by car and interviewed hundreds of people, close to 1,000 people in 40 states before the last election. And we are right in the middle of getting back in touch with all the same people 4 years later. And it's called Our State of Peace, really wondering where we are. For me, I've been working with Pathways for a couple of years, and we have a wonderful project called My Mask is For You, and using that as a way to build a culture of peace with different organizations and schools like Mater Dei Prep. And hopefully, I've been working on a video that will make it to the UN for Peace Day. And I'll put my information there so you can get in touch with me. I focus on film and shifting, rebranding how we get to peace so that it hits people through social media a little bit more directly. And that's about it.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Good to see you. And as a reminder, please, everyone, put your name, your contact information into the chat so we have all that. Elizabeth, hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Sheridan, and I'm a youth representative from Pathways to Peace, and I'm also an alumni of the Global Leaders Program, which we'll speak about a little bit later. I'm currently working on developing a mentorship program that will pair students in grades 8 through 12 with members of Pathways to Peace. It'll be a year-long program where the students will learn more about our organization, and then they'll create a project that aligns with the core tenets of Pathways to Peace. The goal is to provide them with a guide into the United Nations, and then also to kind of give them a stage on the global dynamic so they could see where they're going with their lives. If anyone is interested in being a part of this program or learning more about it, please reach out to me. I'll put my contact information in the chat and I'll share the full proposal. Together, I truly believe we can bring students around the world together under the Pathways to Peace umbrella and usher in a new era of peace building. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Yay. You say yes. Thank you. Lisa, hello.
Hi there, I'm Lisa Parker and I'm founder and president of Peace Day Philly, which is the Philadelphia Region Initiative for the International Day of Peace. This will be our 10th year as an organization. We're grassroots and volunteer run. I'm also a representative to the United Nations for Peace Day Philly. This year we have 11 events relating to global, local, and personal peace that will span 7 days ending on the International Day of Peace. So as for support, I hope you can take a look at the events. Please check some of them out. And if you could share them, that would be wonderful. If you could follow us on Peace Day Philly, our Facebook page, and on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, and repost our posts, we would really appreciate it. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Beautiful. Great to see you, Lisa. Thank you. And Paul, Linden, hello. Please unmute.
Okay.
There you go.
I figured the easiest way to say what I do is to read a couple of paragraphs that I've written. How can people bear to cause other people pain? How can people embrace racism, sexism, political and religious violence, and hatred? A major part of the answer is that it is all too easy for people to see the world through fear and anger, and to view other people as not fully human. But in dehumanizing others, people dehumanize themselves, and in so doing, they become numb and can hurt others without feeling it. However, this is not simply a political, cultural, psychological, or spiritual problem. This whole process takes place in the body. Though most people do not notice it, emotions are actions that we do in the body. Hatred is something that is done in the body. To change how we feel, it is not enough just to decide to stop destructive feelings. The body must be taught to not hate. And in a sense, that is impossible. It is impossible to stop a negative. It must be replaced with a positive. Through specific and concrete body techniques, it is possible to teach people to create, understand, and use in their lives a body state of awareness, power, and compassion. This is not the whole solution, but it is a necessary foundation. It moves people to feel others as human and to care what happens to them. I've been doing Aikido for 50 years. I've had Parkinson's now for 18 years. And this is the summary of everything I've studied in my 50 years of training in Aikido. And it's something that I think is crucial and not discussed. I never hear anybody talk about the body in peacemaking as such. And I'd like to contribute this. I found ways of teaching it very rapidly, very quickly. I've got a couple of things on my website that people can download, a number of things that are free. And I'd like to help people, whoever wants this material, to learn it and spread it.
Yes, thank you very much. And you have sent us some material which is really terrific. And so please put your contact information in the chat, and you will be part of the collection of the material that we have. Thank you, Paul. And Peter, hello, great to see you. Oh, do you unmute, please?
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh,
Gotcha.
good. Okay. Hi. I'm Ann Creeder, and I am with 3 different organizations. The Global Movement for the Culture of Peace at the UN as an NGO, and with the Peace Alliance Campaign for a Department of Peace Building, and the Global Alliance for Ministries and Infrastructures for Peace. And my focus is really on creating infrastructures for peace around the world. And I'm very pleased that this year, the International Day of Peace theme is shaping peace together, because I believe that's what infrastructures for peace do. And my focus right now is working with the Global Alliance for Infrastructures for Peace to create, to pass a resolution in the UN General Assembly to encourage all member states to have departments and ministries of peace. Thank you.
Great. Ben, please put your contact information in. Anne is one of those tireless workers and doing great work. Thank you very much. Mr. Paul Coleman.
Hi, my name is Paul Coleman. I'm coming from Chilean Patagonia, and I've been a part of Pathways to Peace and the Culture of Peace Initiative for 3 decades. I walked around the planet planting trees for peace and environmental restoration. And most recently on our land here, we've been regenerating the forests of it. And on September 20th, 21st, 22nd, it looks like we're going to have a 3-day celebration. And it's going to include people from around the world. We're going to plant over 100 trees to mark the occasion. We're going to have ceremonies, and we're going to have a vegan feast workshop and all sorts of events that we're going to be putting online and connecting with people like the Walking Tree Man in the United States and the Pied Piper of Hamlin, and basically having a very wonderful time and inviting everybody around the world to join us on any one of these 3 days via Zoom or whatever other connections we can come up with.
Beautiful. Thank you, Paul. Great to have you here. Thank you.
Great to be back.
Yes, surely. Bill McCarthy, you're on. You have to unmute, Bill. Bill McCarthy. Unmute. Not on. Oh, there you go. Hey, Bill.
Hey, well, first, it's amazing group that you've got together here in support of Pathways to Peace. I'm honored to be one of the members. Very briefly, and I will send an email to everybody because I've just outlined what we're doing this year. We have a Positive Spin television show that's been presenting positive news from around the world for the last 22 years. And many times we focus on the UN. And the show that's happening tomorrow has a promo on the UN 75th and the Sustainable Development Goals. And I will send people the information on that. We're also going to do our 12th annual Peace Day Global broadcast that streams live from the Peace Channel and the official UN website. And on October 24th, we're launching a YouTube documentary for the UN 75th anniversary. And finally, at the San Francisco Museum, sfmuseum.org, we have a whole series of presentations we worked out with the UN on the actual founding of the UN in 1975 with archival photos that give you a complete overview of what took place. So those are the things that we're doing.
Beautiful. The Bill's been one of those visionaries making things happen. So thank you, Bill. Emma.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Welcome, Emma.
Hello, I'm Emma Diaz. I am a incoming sophomore at Modern Day Prep and part of the Global Leaders Institute. I was a part of many projects with Mr. Anthony and Elizabeth Sheridan, one of them being Lead Like a Girl, what I did 2 years ago. Now I am part of My Mask is For You with Ms. Green. And I am pleased to announce that this year I will be partaking with my class on a new project called Mediascape, where we basically go on a Zoom call like this and we talk with people all over the world and spread pathways to peace all over what we should do.
Great. Thank you. One of the bright lights coming in. Another bright light, Renor. Hello, Renor, are you there?
Yes, thank you, David. I just want to introduce myself very quickly, as I don't want to take up much more time till we get to the strategizing.
Yeah.
So my name is Noor Jani. I have been representing Pathways to Peace at the UN for the past few years. What I'm most passionate about is nuclear disarmament, refugee rights and protections, and alternative adolescent mental health care. I am very grateful to be here with all of you. Much love. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Renar. Another great bright light coming up. Meryl, welcome. And you, please. There you go.
Hear me.
Happy
Hi.
birthday, Meryl.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here and see you all. Thank you for inviting me. Well, I'm a musician and a composer and a producer. I'm the CEO of Spiraling Music Company. And in my life, I have composed music and curricula for global agreement documents, the UDHR, Towards the Global Ethic and Initial Declaration, the Convention on the Rights of the Child. I have some music and curricula on that, as well as I wrote a song dedicated to Avon called Minute of Silence, and a book of how to teach that to 3 to 5 year olds. Because I took it very personally and seriously that if we're going to have our minute of silence, you have to train the 3-year-olds to be silent for a whole minute. And recently, I had 2 of my pieces performed live on a Zoom for the UN 75 back in June 27th. So that was a really wonderful event, and look forward to having more of my works presented on these types of global gatherings. And currently, 2 of my pieces are finalists in the Peace Awards contest, and voting online goes until September 1st. So I'm going to include the links where to vote for my 2 versions of Every Man, Woman, and Child, the hip hop version and the yoga version.
Yes, please put them in.
I will, you know, so that's about it. And I've known Avon since I think 1985 or so. So we go way back, and good to see you all.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Meryl. Kim Weichel, hello. Long time.
Thank you, David. And you know, it's so great to see so many of you here. I have wonderful connections with so many of you over the past decades. So this is just a treat for me. So I'm a longtime passionate peace builder from the San Francisco Bay Area. I've been living in the Washington, D.C. area for 11 years now. My husband and I co-teach various courses at the Lifelong Learning Institute at American University in Washington, D.C. on some American cultural issues and on the United Nations. I've been working for 11 years on a range of women and peace building issues with the U.S. Institute of Peace in D.C. I'm currently writing another book on lessons from our time. One of the chapters is with our wonderful Tezekiah on how do we live in peace during times of crisis like now. I'm a longtime passionate mentor of young women to encourage women's voices to be heard. And I've been working on the celebrations this fall in DC on UN's 75th birthday. I've been involved with UN in many ways as a UN women consultant, advisor, and very involved with the UN Association here. So I'm thrilled to be part of this, looking forward to the brainstorming and collective work we're doing together. Thank you, David. Thank you for leading this.
Great. Thank you very much, Kim. Glad you're here. Natasha, please.
Hello, everyone. It's good evening from my side. I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa, and very thrilled to be a part of this esteemed group. Thank you for allowing me this time. I come from a business background as a management consultant, and I'm trying to make the switch over as a social entrepreneur. I'm aware that in our country we have over 100,000 nonprofit organizations, and I'm trying to make sense of how we can move and organize nonprofits in a way where communities actually feel the change and the impact. And so I'm green in terms of bringing the fundamentals of peace to the youth. I'm starting a youth development program, and I think peace is integral to their curriculum. It does seem ironic that as someone who's been in the presence of Nelson Mandela, I'm at this group trying to understand how to bring peace to South Africa, but it is fundamental to inclusivity and diversity. And I'm really hoping to understand better from so many of you what constructs are required, understood in terms of the Pathways to Peace process as interpreted by the UN. And I'm encouraged by what I've heard so far, and I feel I have a long way to go, but so much to learn from all of you. So thanks for this time.
Beautiful. Thank you, Natasha. And thank you. The gentleman, I'm not sure about pronunciation, Belushifo, you are in Africa.
He's in Nigeria, that Lucifo. He's one of
Hello.
our PTP UN representatives in Geneva.
Aha, welcome.
Thank you very much. In fact, there should have been more of us here this evening, but there we go. Today, a continuation of what we started last week was a wonderful experience for us. So after it, we came and sat together and thought we will put our thoughts in bullet points, which you don't mind if I read to you. But today is very significant. 21st of August, as you know, is an International Day for the remembrance of and tribute to victims of terrorism.
George Anthony, United Nations Pathways to Peace, Primary Representative.
So
Join the meeting.
So you remember that in 2017, the UN said that 3/4 of terrorism in the world is concentrated in 5 countries, including my country, Nigeria. And I don't think things have changed since then. We want to thank everyone, especially for bringing us into this work. Harry and I have been representing the Pathways in Geneva, the Human Rights Council. It has been a wonderful experience. So when we got back, many years back, we thought that the work of the PTP must find its way in this part of the world, especially with so much challenges in Africa. So we set up a few NGOs. One of it is what we call the ITBSD, which is the Initiative for Technology-Based Sustainable Development, dealing mainly with poverty alleviation through skills acquisition for human capacity development. The aim is to empower people and lead them out of the poverty cycle. Then we've been members of World Goodwill for a long time. And we know that World Goodwill is a pathway to peace. Through meditation, we know that goodwill is love in action.
That's really wonderful. I wonder if you could put your contact information in the chat
Yes,
so people could be in contact with you directly.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. We need to move ahead here.
Let me just round up. We have one suggestion for the PTP. We would like PTP to formulate a curriculum of peace building, conflict resolution for high school students as part of their civic duties, adapting the Robert Mueller World Core curriculum as a basis. So we are glad to be here, and it's a wonderful experience, and we are sure you will continue to support you in doing this work. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll want to add that to the strategic planning discussion that's coming up. So thank you very much. Again, just have your introductions to a minute, please. Joni Cadelli, one of the co-founders with AVEN.
Good morning, good evening. I was a co-founder with AVEN, as David said, and have been very much engaged with Pathways over the years. I was a UN rep for several years and worked with not only Pathways there, but also the United People's Assembly, which was about creating a second assembly house in the United Nations for the people. I also, right now, I'm representing Pathways on the UNA Marin, which I think Kim Weichel started. And we are very much involved in celebrating the 75th anniversary of the UN. And you can see 3 videos about
about this on our website, UNA Marin. I think it's .org, but I'm not sure. And I'm in the process of working to document the many, many years of the work of Pathways to Peace in a way that students can carry forward the work. And suggestions are welcome. And it's wonderful to see my dear friends in Europe and Africa and all over the world. Patagonia. Thank you, David and Hezekiah and Avon for putting this together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joni. Yes, truly a light here. Catherine, please.
Yeah, my name's Catherine Powers, and I'm very new to Pathways to Peace. I think my strongest affiliation is with groups called like the Moria Federation and 2025 Initiative. And I think my role in the world is I am sort of a scribe and sort of a translator of almost cosmic energies, and then I get pulled into things. So next thing I know, I'm in a meditation group redirecting planetary money to the Sustainable Development Goals, for example. And that brings me into all these connections with United Nations people, some of which are on the call. And then independently, but not quite, I get involved in distribution of stones from a meteorite to bring a template of energetic peace. And there's a lot of overlap, as it turns out, between Pathways to Peace and that kind of work too. So I'm here to learn more about the organization and the wonderful people in it, because I suppose somewhere in my consciousness, I'm supporting all of the work everybody's doing on multiple levels. And occasionally writing things that are useful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Barbara Mueller, hello. Unmute, please.
Everyone. When that happened.
I can't believe how many fabulous people are on this call, David. And I had it in my brain that it was going to start at 10, and on my day timer it says 9:30, but I never look at that. So anyway, I apologize for not hearing all of your wonderful work. And if you want to let me know more about your work, and I did miss it and I don't want to, I'm available at any time by email. And what I've been doing lately is keeping up with my United Nations Association work after my late husband, Robert Mueller, passed in 2010. I decided that I had to do more for peace because we still didn't have peace, even though his whole life was spent working for peace, as Joni knows and so many of you know. When he passed away, the eve of the International Day of Peace, and I just get chills thinking about that. He passed at midnight, right before the International Day of Peace began. And those of you who've been with Pathways to Peace, as I have been for so many years, you probably know that you are looking at people who have helped the International Day of Peace. And the little stories that Avon just told me as I called her to correct I assume she and Robert created it. You know, I think she and Robert did everything, but no, she said, no, we helped implement it. And then she told me about this wonderful man who was working for calendars, and he put it on the calendar. And that's why we have it on our calendars today, but I think it's much more than that. I think when the UN agreed that the International Day of Peace should be celebrated close to the opening of the General Assembly, then it became something we all honor and appreciate. And I just have to have a shout out to Dot Maver, because Dot Maver and I put together this, you know how the United Nations has a charter? Well, Dot Maver and I created a charter for peace. And it's kind of sitting here waiting for the right moment to bring it out to the world. And I am so delighted that I have so many things to tell you, but I want to just kind of give you that.
And we need to move ahead.
Oh, I'm done, David. You are the best. And I want you all to know how important David is. He's the president-elect of the Rotary E-Club of World Peace. Yes, sir.
Well, you're
And this
the
may
new
be the
president.
moment for the Charter of Peace here.
Oh, thank you. And please put your contact information in the chat.
Right now. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Wonderful. And let's move to, and I'm not sure about the pronunciation, Basabe. Hello.
Hello. Hi, my name is Betsy Reina. I am a UN representative for Pathways to Peace for like 3 years now. I mainly do humanitarian aid work, but I also work in advocacy and also a part-time nanny. My passion and goal is to raise awareness and to propose solutions for regions afflicted with religious conflict. So generally, I focus on the MENA region, so Middle East, North Africa, and I advocate and work with others to find solutions under the sake of human rights and of persecuted people forced to flee their homes. So generally, I just give the basic necessities wherever I am placed, wherever I am called to go. But I also call for people, for others to go and realize it could be any one of us. So do as you would want done to you. As Evan was saying earlier, we have begun this time of uncertainty and, you know, true chaos with everything going on around the world. So what more of a better time it is to stand up for each other and our earth. And that's it.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And let us see who is yet to be identified. So Katie Carr, please.
Hi guys, I'm going to apologize in advance. Today is my multitasking day. So I'm simultaneously working and, you know, hanging out with you guys. So I am a Pathways to Peace UN rep and program coordinator. I'm currently doing a lot of the social media, Instagram, some Facebook and Twitter. Of course, please follow us. In my daily life, I work in construction, so quite a bit of the difference. I've been very fortunate to study abroad, and I got my master's degree in international relations and international non-governmental organizations from Webster University London campus, where I mainly focused my area on child soldiers and forced migration of children, which I was very fortunate to have my thesis published in the Oxford Monitor on Forced Migration. You know, and I'm just really looking forward to, you know, when the UN opens back up and we can, you know, all meet in person and work together.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for your support and all the work that you do. Wonderful. And how about Jennifer Moreau? And please hold it to a minute.
Sure. Just if I can get this on. Hi, I'm pretty new also to Pathways. I was part of the CSW 64 a few months ago where I spoke about communications. I've been a journalist for about 20 years, the last 5 of which has been the editor of a Catholic magazine in the Diocese of Trenton, New Jersey. And some of my biggest passions are conflict diamonds, interreligious dialogue, and refugee advocacy. So most of my time is taken up with being the magazine and writing and editing, but I am really looking forward to being able to help in any way I can. I have a lot of time. Well, no, I don't have a lot of time. I like to write, so I'm very passionate about that and research. So I'm just hoping to be able to help wherever needed. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And please put your contact information in the chat. Everybody, please let us know who you are. Julie, hello. Hello, Julie, please unmute. All right, let's move over to Margaret. Are you there, Margaret? Unmute Margaret.
Well, it's not Margaret, actually. My name is Foster, but using my...
Okay, hello,
I'm from
Foster, please.
Lagos, Nigeria, so I belong...
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm new to this, so I'm hoping to learn, and then the special area is poverty alleviation as a enabler for peace in our environment. Like I'm from Nigeria, like Val talked about. So we hope to make it work in this side of the world. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. And Monica. Hello, Monica. Please unmute. All right, let's move ahead to the telephone number, 917727. Hello, who's this? Unmute. Okay, then we'll move ahead to the JUWE person. Please say hello. Unmute. Okay, well then we'll move ahead. Anyone who's here that I missed?
David, if you could just give Monica an extra moment. I think she's calling from Sweden. And last time she had to leave before she could speak. So it may just be a little hard for her to connect in.
Okay, well, we need to move right ahead, even time-wise. So if you could communicate with her, let her know. Monica, are you available?
She said in the chat that she had to leave, so she may have left.
Okay, so let us move ahead. So Tezekiah, to you, please.
Oh my
Let
goodness.
me also mention that Marilyn King is on the line and she's not able to say hello, but Marilyn King is a longtime Pathways to Peace person. She was in the 1984 International Day of Peace big event in San Francisco, and she's an Olympian and has done some seminal work in the Olympian thinking. So you'll hear more from Marilyn another time. So Tezekiah, you've got it.
I've got it. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been quite amazing, right? And so I hardly know where to begin. I'm rather breathless at the moment. But it's my job to kind of launch this piece around strategic planning. And so I think all of you know by now that Pathways is launching a strategic planning process. And we are looking at creating the next evolution of Pathways to Peace. And we would be remiss if we didn't go first to our key stakeholders. So the information that you're going to provide to us, we consider data or input into that planning process. And we expect to be engaged with you through that process as well. So it's important to know, and I know this has had meaning to many of you, that Pathways to Peace for quite some time has been guided by a vision of peace. And it's what we have called the peace card. So I'd like to invite, I'm going to put it up on the screen, and I'd like to invite Avon to kind of share with us the peace card.
I'd be delighted. And just as an aside, connected with Marilyn King, she has had a program connected with Pathways to Peace a long time ago called Peace is the Only Goal. And she has a program that she was going to introduce connected with the peace card and the 8 pathways and a particular training for young people. This is called Imagine a World. And I just want to give a quick background about how this was brought forward. Initially, this was before the age of computers. So it was by snail mail and by telephone calls and by faxes that we initially put forward, Pathways to Peace did, this Imagine a World peace card. And it was passed by people throughout the world, different organizations, including David Wilkham with his extraordinary organization, Peace Child, and so many others, as well as colleagues at the UN, including Robert Mueller. So this is a group endeavor, a worldwide group endeavor, and it goes as follows. Imagine a world where governments respect the human rights of all their citizens and settle disputes by the rule of law for the common good. Where all people have food, shelter, and access to medical care, and children are born into and raised by healthy families and communities. Where literacy and education for all are accomplished facts. where economic practices create well-being for all stakeholders, including communities and the environment and the common good, where beauty, the arts, and media inspire the best in people, where the benefits of science and technology enhance all circles of life, where respect and appreciation of diverse religious beliefs and spiritual practices are encouraged and reverence for life is fostered, where the earth and all her resources and natural beauty are treasured and utilized sustainably for this and future generations and regenerative. This is a world at peace. May peace prevail on earth, and you are a pathway to peace.
Mhm.
That is the Pathways to Peace vision of a world at peace. And we know that that vision has been shared in one way, shape, or form, both deliberately and subconsciously, unconsciously, with everyone on this call. When we look at strategic planning, we say this is our vision. And while it's always just a bit beyond our stretch, we back out of it and say, so what then needs to occur for us to accomplish that vision? And we recognize that while it may not be in this lifetime, that we may not see it as individuals, that it's still, the actions we take still are prompting that ultimate accomplishment of that global vision. And then we look at what our core values are. And in looking at core values, Avon has already mentioned several of them in her opening. And I think just to review the core values are that we are multicultural in everything that we do. We strive to be multi and cross-cultural, intergenerational, with all ages woven into all that we do. That global and local are inseparable. That cooperation and collaboration is the way that we accomplish our work.
Mhm.
And that we know that everyone is a pathway to peace. So those are our core values that drive our work into the future. So with that, I'd just like to invite, and David will be facilitating your input into the next evolution of Pathways to Peace. Your visions, your hopes, your ideas, your thoughts about how Pathways to Peace may look and work in the future. David?
So we can do this a couple ways because I know this is a very rich gathering and rich input which we want to get. So again, material or more detailed thoughts, please email that to Hezekiah. And one more time, Hezekiah, would you put your email up on the chat?
I would be happy to.
Thank you. That's really important because we want to really gather this. And I know that many numbers of you have some really substantive ideas and material. So that would be a prime way of sending that in, of sharing that. Another would be put it into the chat. Your suggestions. It could be shorthand, could be links. But really, the best way to communicate that to us, and let us be able to talk with each other and share ideas. Again, this is being recorded, so we will capture that. But if you would, down in the bottom of the Zoom area, where you have the mute and the video and so on the far right-hand side, there are reactions. And if you'll open the reaction, and then there's a hand. that you can initiate, holding your hand up when you'd like to share something. That would be the best way, so we could see who would like to speak, rather than trying to speak out loud and be difficult. So who would like to present an idea? Again, it could be an idea and an inspiration. You think, again, building upon what Pathways is in the world. It can't do all things, but it can really look at all the talent that we have right here. So please, if you'd like to share something, hold up your hand.
And also, David, ways that they can collaborate with one another and with Pathways to Peace.
Sure. Yes, Paul.
I am curious. My sense is that the argument I make that peace must be founded on self-regulation in the body. You have to teach people that people have to experience that when they're full of hate, it's not spiritually damaging, it's physically weakening. I can show people that love is stronger, not as a spiritual force, but you can actually lift weights, more heavier weights, etc., when your body is loving and powerful. Does that ring true to people? And are people willing to use the material it cuts across everything. Anybody with a body should have access to this state of compassionate power. And the way I summarize it is love without power is ineffective, and power without love is brutality. Does it ring true that people can use this across the board in a productive way? Because if it doesn't, then I have to do more work in expressing it.
Okay, so anyone raise a hand if you'd like to respond. Again, you don't often hear about body work in peace building per se. Anyone have a thought? Yes, Elizabeth.
So I think that definitely talking about the body within peace building is very important. I know personally, I've seen a lot of my generation, they're turning to peaceful workouts such as yoga, meditation, those types of workouts so that they could focus their body, and through that they find a way to focus and find inner peace. So I think that by adding the body into the overall peace building talks, you're also opening up a new way of communication, whether it's classes that'll combine the peace building and ways to take care of your body, both athletically, emotionally, or just everyday care. And then you can also go further with it and take it so that as you're going through and you're building your body up, you're also building up your mental health. And I think that would definitely be a way that everything kind of comes into connection, and then we could bring the body more into peace building. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and I would support that also, just in terms of I'm 74, and really paying more attention to my well-being and body health, because without the body, I can't do the work, etc. So I would certainly support that on earlier in life, so it really becomes an integrated part of lifestyle. Anyone else? So yes, Emma, you had a thought.
So going off what Elizabeth said, I am with workouts and stuff, I am a dancer. I dance every day of the week at my studio, and putting my mind at ease makes me at peace. I know that when I dance, I seem to put others at peace. Whenever I'm stressful, I always do yoga. I meditate, and I just sit in my room and think about what I can do to further with dancing and to further make peace with others.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So I think I would say there's support there for sure. Kim, you had a thought you'd like to share.
Thank you, David. So Hezekiah and I, in the course of writing our chapter, have come up with some ideas on, again, how do we live in peace during a time of crisis? And the crisis doesn't have to be just a pandemic. It might be a health crisis, a financial crisis, a personal crisis, and that's often the hardest time. So we thought we might lead a few online dialogues for this awesome community to support people, because to do our work more effectively, we also need to be centered and balanced and figure out how do we live this work and embody it. So that's a specific, could be some online dialogues for this community. And secondly, as an avid educator, a thought for Pathways going forward is to have some online classes, since everybody is online these days, in peace building, kind of 101, and beyond the choir, perhaps, for all of the readers of the Pathways to Peace, materials, and your huge network out there of the, learning ourselves, learning for, how do we live in peace on a daily basis. So perhaps some online courses and dialogues would be helpful.
Great, thank you. Barbara?
I have found that people want peace when they want peace. They don't have a schedule for peace. And so after Robert passed, I decided I was going to interview peacemakers. And I did that for the 2016 World Peace Conference. I interviewed 85 peacemakers. And I have to agree with everything that has been said today, because the number one thing when I would say, what does peace mean to you? They would say, it starts with me. It's inside. And if I'm at peace, the world's at peace, and I can bring my peace to the world. So then I went one step further about a year ago, and I started peacepodcast.org so that people can go when they're in the mood. It can be midnight. It can be next year. It can be 20 years from now. Those peace podcasts are with the people who are making peace on our planet today. And you'll hear David. You'll hear what he has to say. You'll hear 100-year-old Ben Ferencz, who was the Nuremberg trial lawyer at 27. And what does he say? It takes courage to not be discouraged. Think about those words. Each one of these people that I have had the honor of interviewing have Dot Maver. All these people have the wisdom that we need today. So rather than saying, it needs to be now, it's when you're ready. When you're ready, peace is there. And I have to shout out to Bill McCarthy. And I think we have an opportunity coming up. September 21 is an opportunity for us to go global with Pathways to Peace. Pathways to Peace. And today I heard these words, everyone is a pathway to peace. Don't you just love that? If we put that on a t-shirt and put it around, Robert and I, during a time when he was kind of not well, we made caps. We made baseball caps. It said, decide to be peaceful. And we wore them everywhere. Then he got sick. And so he wrote, decide to be healthy. It's a decision to be peaceful. So that's my point. When you're ready, we're here for you. And maybe Bill McCarthy will talk a little bit about Unity Day, so that we buy Unity for Pathways to Peace, and how Peace Network and Peace TV, I have it on my website, Bill. I wouldn't leave home without Peace TV on everything. Thank you, my darlings, and keep the good work going. You're all so powerful.
And please put in your podcast URL in the chat, please.
Peacepodcast.org. It's so simple. And I want the writers on here to email me. I need you, I need you, I need you.
Okay, great. So, yes, Deborah.
Thank you, Paul, for bringing this up. And I love what everybody is saying. One of the things that I noticed when I was interviewing people 4 years ago, when I said, how are you feeling? What do you think about when you think about peace? Many people 4 years ago found the word kind of like not applicable to their daily life. How interesting and how untrue that is 4 years later, right? Peace is at the top of what every person desires for themselves personally, globally, community, trying to figure out a social distancing from your relatives in your own house, when you need it. I mean, peace is number one. And I want to mention one thing, which is the first time I traveled was after 9/11, and I went up and down the West Coast interviewing high school students who were overwhelmed with the concept of world peace. And one student said, it's too big for me. I can't handle it, and why is everybody saying the next generation is going to handle it? And I want to say this also because the next generation is on this call, and in the moment I said, what about 3 feet of peace? Which is the 3 feet around you, which is what we're all talking about, right? This is our world peace. This is my world, right? I carry this world around everywhere I go, right? And if I can find my 3 feet and you can find your 3 feet, we're going to have a better conversation. And this little child looked up at me and was like, awesome, I can do that, right? Which is exactly what each of these people, what each of you are talking about, is how do I physically, mentally, spiritually create this 3 feet of peace? And to me, what's interesting, which for me is the next step, is now we have to be 6 feet apart, which means my 3 feet has to meet your 3 feet. Right? And so how do we do that? And how do we create the courses around this concept? And that's part of the work that we're doing and that we're talking about, is how do I meet your peace? Right? And how do we create our own peace? So that's, Barbara, that's some of the writing that I'm doing, and I'd love to talk to you about it. And also find people to teach it in different modalities. How do you teach this 6 feet of peace in different modalities so that we can take it around the world?
Beautiful. Thank you. Right on, Deborah. Yeah, that's right on. And let me just share just a couple of threads here. As I mentioned last time, coming off of the deep work with Pathways to Peace, I moved to Ashland, Oregon in 2003. Building upon that is a long story, but creating the Ashland Cultural Peace Commission and building on the culture peace work and the resolution that was done with Ambassador Chaudhry and others in 1999, and having that as a vision for the city of Ashland, for the whole entire community. Over the last 5 years, this International Day of Peace is going to be our 5th year anniversary. It has made a huge impact in many different ways in the city, but it takes time. And it's about education. It's about people opening up and learning what peace is, what peace building is, what a culture of peace is, and it does begin with each person. So going back to what you mentioned, Kim, about the education, the learning about peace building, what it means to individuals. As Barbara mentioned, she and I are in the Rotary E-Club of World Peace. And there's a real reach into Rotary. There's a lot of parts of Rotary that are aware of peace and so on. But there's a lot who's going, what does that mean? I mean, it's a separate thing. I'm doing the water, separate. So it's all about education and mindset. It's about shifting mindset. I think that's basically what we've been doing for all these years, is shifting mindset and behavior, ultimately behavior. So, right on. Next person would like to share. Yes, Mr. Thinking.
Yes, I'm thrilled. This depth of participants, you see Robert Muller, Yehudi Menuhin, Sir Peter Ustinov, were my mother milk 25, 30 years ago. And to really come now to this situation, I can only throw 3 nuggets into the circle. First, we, with the Global Commons Alliance in ECOSOC, made recommendations for the SDGs. SDG 16 and 17 are meta goals. And to go to the deep drivers, to the root causes, is the work we did in the late 60s around the Club of Rome, bringing participatory, normative, and prognostic futures together. Secondly, what we did with the International Peace University when the Berlin Wall came down, did magic roundtables to encourage gifting of attention time. So a talking stick circle with 60 sticks for 60 minutes, and it's a gifting method. And it's now done in the internet because we have to go beyond the monologues, the talkers. The third is with the World Future Council and the global agoras, we look into multi-track diplomacy and peacemaking. It's the United Nations Democracy Fund project. And I'm retired and I can just open doors and help here and there and bring the young people together. And that's what we do with young filmmakers across 4 ministries in Luxembourg to really have, with documentary filmer, young people being conveyors of the whole picture. So it's called Youth for Planet, and so much more. And I'm feeling very privileged to really link to Lucille and Joni and all this. So thank you for allowing me to speak so long.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And did you put your contact information in the chat? Okay.
No, I added another name. It's a lady who actually did this work with the International Peace University in 1990, inviting Laszlo as our scientific director. Her name is Farah Lenzer. I've been adding her details only through technical problems. She couldn't be here, but she had promised. But I feel she really was part of this because we were with her and Robert in Berlin and Budapest and Paris and wherever. So I really feel this is an important move. And as in the preparation of Rio 92, I was as UNEP working for Noel Brown, doing all this and supporting the development of ECOSOC. It was really that we have to overcome this multilingual Babylon. And there is work where we embody knowledge. So the real knowledge and the overview orientation knowledge. And that's what I'm doing with young people since I developed this 1990 in the German Chancellery with the White House Conference on bridging languages, cultures, belief systems, scales, proportions, consequences. No, excuse me, I have to shut up.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you. Well, please put in your contact information too, so it can reach you. Yeah. So thank you. So another hand. Anyone? Yes, Barbara. Oh, well, let's go to Fred. Fred, please.
Am I next?
Yes.
I have a very simple thing.
No. I'm going to Fred first, and then you're next.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay, Barbara. You can go. Go ahead. Oh, wait.
Mine is so simple. Instead of saying goodbye to people, I say peace be with you. It's a simple thing, and it's working in the grocery store or when I hang up on the telephone and saying, instead of saying goodbye, I say peace be with you and love. That's it. Done.
Great. Beautiful. Fred, and then Bill.
Avon, I mentioned this in 2014 when we were first talking and everything, so I'll just loop back to it. Your mission is to rebrand Pathways to Peace, right? Is to call attention to the organization. And based on the peace card, you know, where it ends with, you are a pathway to peace. I think, you know, I looked it up, there are 7,099 languages spoken in the world. And I was thinking just as a very simple message, I am a pathway to peace. And Pathways to Peace launches a campaign with the goal of getting 1 billion people to take a picture of themselves, holding up the way the UN 75th says, I had my say. Yeah, I looked online and people were saying I had my say and this is what my input is. But each person on the planet just declares, I am a pathway to peace. It comes back to the mission and the vision of Pathways to Peace.
Yes.
We translate it, and I mean this seriously, into, because when I did the UN's 50th anniversary, we recorded the preamble to the charter in English, French, Spanish, Arabic, Russian, and Chinese. And I remember when we were doing 14 films after that, we would write things in the script, and my client, Ali Nazarelli, would say, because we were working with Gillian Morton Sorensen's group, that concept in English, it doesn't translate into Russian. It doesn't exist in Chinese. You have to rethink that. So I really do think that the elevator closing door message for Pathways to Peace is a universal declaration of I Am a Pathway to Peace, translate it into 100 languages, 500 languages, and use it as a single galvanizing idea to unify the planet around one unifying thought. That's it.
Beautiful.
So brilliant.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
So,
Yes.
thank you. The inspiration comes from having the honor of working on the UN's 50th anniversary, understanding the meaning of the preamble. I wasn't here when World War II, but I remember saying to the United Nations at the press conference, humanity had to have horrific devastation in World War II to meet in the Embarcadero in San Francisco and to get X amount of nations to sign the charter. And I also think it's a recommendation to the United Nations is to, I think it was like 26 nations signed in 1945, recommit, because Ambassador Butler said this at the press conference when I was talking to him. He said these words to the preamble, we the peoples of the United Nations determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, which twice in our lifetime has caused untold sorrow. To recommit, and they brought when they signed the charter in 1945, they put it in the Smithsonian. And they said, if we're still here in 1995, we'll bring it from the Smithsonian and put it on permanent display at the United Nations. Ask the United Nations to re-sign the charter and to have every nation re-sign it. So, anyway.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Fred. Absolutely. Bill, let me come back to you just a moment. I need to go to George Anthony. So please hop in, and because you just ready to come in, we wanted you to speak. George, unmute. Unmute.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
I just want to piggyback on what you have to say, and I know Elizabeth is going to speak at some point, and elaborate on that a little bit more. But what you really sort of focused on, and quite a few other people said, is, and what we believe is very simply this: peace just does not happen. It needs to be created. It's work. It's work in action. I know Lindy Crescitelli, I'm sure, is on this call, and we have 20 years between us, 25 years between us of giving and providing students with the tools. And this is what we always say: give them the tools to build peace. And when I say tools, I mean the skill level, the time, the projects. Present them with the tools, train them in those tools, and then let them own those projects, let them own their work. And in their ownership is when they really have that connection. It's a physical connection, it's an emotional connection, it's a spiritual connection, because then they can create their projects, believe in their projects, and then cultivate that project. So especially with students, I know Elizabeth is on here and she will go into it a little bit more, but those projects become a cultivation. And that cultivation then becomes into the fabric of our culture, a fabric into our culture of peace. And that is what we call peace builders. And of course, working with Pathways to Peace over these years and connecting them to the Modern Day Prep program, the global leaders, and prior to that with Lindy Crescitelli and the work we did, we see the work that we do, and that's why we do it. And I always say we are truly a blessed community of peace builders, and we have so much to be thankful for leaders such as you, David, Tezekiah, Bill McCarthy, and of course our dear Avon. So I'm going to then at this point give it to Elizabeth. Eventually,
no, not actually. We're not going to go to Elizabeth right now.
Right.
So thank you very much, George. Appreciate that. We're at the end of our time. And Bill McCarthy, and then we'll go to Tezekiah. You know, anything else, and this is wonderful, very rich, very important, please send it into the chat or to Tezekiah's email, whatever else you'd like to contribute. This is great. Bill, and then we'll go to Tezekiah.
Yeah, am I still?
You're unmute, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll be very brief. It occurs to me that there are a lot of people on this call who are into the media. They've created films, people like Barbara, who is like so sophisticated at promoting, that group of people should collaborate together, you know, find a way that group and maybe other groups around different topics can really have additional meetings specifically to their area, because I think one of the main things that has to happen with Pathways is really we have to learn to promote it more and more and more through as many vehicles as possible. And we have those vehicles already here. So why not bring them all together and see what magic we can create? And then we have someone like Kim, who's just a master at being a correspondent, being that voice for these kind of videos. We need to bring these people together.
Beautiful. That's great. So just as a visual, everybody who's involved with the media that Bill is talking about, raise your hand. Raise 2 hands so we can see you, and so we can get the video. You're being recorded right now. See everybody? Okay, got it. You're on. Wonderful. Tezekiah, please, we're at our conclusion, and please take it, close us out.
I'm so aware that there are so many other ideas that could have been expressed, and we ran out of time. So I just first want to encourage you to contact me with those ideas. If it works better for you to phone me, I will also put that in the chat box. You have my email address. But this is an invitation or a call to engagement. So as I said in our last call, if you were there, there are many ways to get engaged with Pathways to Peace, as together we shape the next evolution. And so the first one is, and a few of you have already contacted me, which I'm delighted about, is to get involved in the strategic planning team. And that team is going to design the process and contribute to the final strategic planning, the final strategic plan product. And so if you're interested in becoming a planning team member, please let me know about that. Secondly, we would like to invite you, if any of what Pathways to Peace is currently engaged in appeals to you and you'd like to become either a program advisor or an organization advisor through our Wisdom Council, please let us know about that. We'd love to tap your wisdom as we move forward in shaping and informing this next stage of development. We have several openings on our Council of Directors for Pathways to Peace. This is our governing body. So if you're interested in becoming a candidate for our Council of Directors, please let us know about that. If there's any other way that you think you'd like to contribute that you haven't yet heard about, but it's a calling for you personally, please contact us. We'd love to hear from you. And we would love to tap your wisdom in whatever way counts, whatever way has meaning for you and benefits Pathways to Peace. Lastly, we really need also your financial support. So if you're in a position to contribute to the next stage of our work, we would invite that contribution. You can do that through our website, www.pathwaystopeace.org, or contact me and I'll send you a link for your contribution or another way for you to contribute. So this is not the end. Once we have a draft plan in place, we'd like to bring you all back together to unveil that and get your input around any final revisions. And we certainly look forward in the implementation of that plan to continue to tap your wisdom, your voices, your expertise. There's just so much here. And I am personally so honored and delighted to hear and to know just the little bit of your work that I've had an opportunity to learn about through the last 2 calls. So thank you. I'm looking forward to our collaboration into the future. And at this point, I'm going to turn it back to our leaders. David.
Amen. We'll close us out. Thank you.
Well, first of all, for the voice of the people who haven't had an opportunity to speak, just very, very sorry that wasn't, the timing didn't allow that, because we would love to spend an entire day together. And one of the most important focus points for me is just the extraordinary collective wisdom from all the different ages here that is so needed for this time, and how important our work in collaborating together is. So what I'm hoping from this time is that through meeting each other in this way and having each other's contact information, as I said at the beginning, there are ways in which we need to support one another's work, to collaborate together. It's only through our concerted action that we can truly make enough of a difference to change the course of history. And now is the time. So just the deepest bow of appreciation to each one of you, and apologies to those that didn't have the opportunity to share. And hopefully there will be another call that we can all gather together in this community and begin sharing our ideas and resources with one another to support one another, as well as the strategic plan with Pathways to Peace that really is fundamentally, essentially about building cooperation amongst very diverse organizations, groups, and programs to building a diverse, sustainable, just, viable culture of peace for the benefit of all and all beings. So blessings to all of you, and be safe and well, and just may we see on the 75th anniversary of the United Nations, as an Indigenous elder has spoken recently, Chief Orville Lookinghorse, it is time for us to mend the sacred hoop.
Right.
Thank you.
And I want to thank our ancestors who have gone before us, because we wouldn't be here without their courageous work. And as I think about that, I realize that there are so many of us who paved the pathway to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like ask everybody to unmute. Please, everybody unmute so we can speak together. And what I'd like to do is, in unison, I'll say together, may peace prevail on earth. So please, everybody unmute so you can participate. Let us do so.
May
peace
prevail
on
on earth.
Why don't you do
Let's
one,
try
two,
it again.
three? Let's do it again.
Ready?
May peace prevail on earth.
And in your heart.
Yes. Blessings.
May peace
And in our heart. All of you.
Bye.
The
Thank
energy
you.
Thank you.
today
Thank
is
you.
unbelievable. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
David,
Bye-bye.
share the chat box with everybody. Awesome.
Thank you.